Welcome back, you guys. This is Moments with Dominica. I'm Dominica, and I'm going to be sharing with you my plan and specific goals that I have with my anxiety to be part of the Surrender Project. Last time kind of went over what book I'm using, which is The Anxious Truth. I will again link that down below. And today we are going to be working on my fear ladder and exposure planner. I have a specific goal, and that goal is broken down into small, tiny steps. And that's kind of, if you go to theanxioustruth.com/downloads, he has my fear ladder and exposure planner downloads for you. You can just print them out and write them, or you can do it on a piece of paper if you feel more comfortable with that. So that's what I did. These are my papers. So I'm kind of gonna share a little bit of my goals and my steps that I'm gonna be taking if you wanna follow along. The first one we're gonna do is your fears and the things that trigger them. This is a sheet that he has you write out things I'm afraid of, like the body sensations, and then trigger activities and situations, things that you try to avoid. So for example, rapid heartbeat, that's one of my sensations, and it happens anytime I drive or get a haircut, when I have to go and get a haircut, go to the grocery store, or feeling dizzy while I'm driving. So first you kind of draw down so you have it on paper. I'm a visual person, so I like to see it on paper. The second one, let me find the paper, is trigger activity situations. So you write it down on the first column, like walking alone. That's a triggering activity for me, or a situation. And measurable goal is in the second column. And mine is to walk up to 30 minutes every day. So that's the second step. I know I'm moving quickly, but I don't want to be too boring. It's very self-explainable once you download the sheets, and he kind of describes what these are. The third one is categorizing your goals. So my goal is going grocery shopping alone. And then he gives you category of N for near term or immediate goal, like that should be doing every day. Mid-range goal is an M, and then long-term goal is an L. And so you list the goal and then which one you want to, how fast you want to work on it. So like grocery shopping, for example, is a near term. It's a immediate goal for me. You might have a different goal. This is where I want to kind of say where I'm at is not where everybody's at. I completely understand that. This is so you can break down your steps and make them into manageable goals, if that makes sense. And the last one he has is creating your fear ladder, which I didn't really do because I have a separate notebook that I take with me. But that's when you kind of write your goal, the category, the normal, mid-range, and long-term, and then priority, kind of prioritize. And then when you did it, you check it off here. So I think these are really helpful. It helps you to break down the goals so you don't feel overwhelmed. If your goal is to walk to your mailbox or just leave your home, period, then you break down those steps. And that's kind of what I've been doing. I've been breaking down my steps. This is, like I said, 14-year journey already. So I might be farther along or nowhere near where you are. And that's completely fine. It's just having a plan, I feel helps. I like to see things on paper. Like I said, I'm visual. I like to be able to check off things. I love office supplies. So this kind of, it makes it a little bit more fun for me and manageable. when I can see it in front of me. Like I said, again, this is not to compare my planning to how yours will look like. That does not matter at all. This is for you. This is something for you to do. Nobody needs to know about this or see this if you don't want them to. This is for you to know. So I break it down into the smallest steps I can. If it's, like I said, driving around the block, then you go and you sit in the car. And if you have panic, you have panic. Just sit in the car, let the wave kind of ride out, and then you get back in the house. And that could be one of your goals. That's completely normal. There's nothing wrong with that. I think people get so shameful, I think, and a little bit scared when they have to see what's in front of them. And I think that can be kind of maybe anxiety provoking to you to see it on paper, but I think it's important. So along with it, I know I've been mentioning it, but it's kind of the biggest part of component for me is breath work. Practicing breath work is really important, and practicing 5 breaths in, holding 1 breath, breathing out for 6 counts. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, you can use an app if you want, like Calm or whatever you want. Drew at theanxioustruth.com/skills, I believe, has breath work as well. Find something that you can practice and work on breath-wise, because it is important. Also, I do relaxation scan. Basically, before I start driving, I sit in my car for like a minute and just quickly scan from the top of my scalp down to my toes, the sensation. So I try to relax my scalp, relax my forehead, relax my ears, relax my jaw, relax my eyes, and just kind of brings me into the present moment, if that makes sense. I think that's very important for me, because just the thought of driving just tenses me up. And so this kind of forces me to let go and be very mindful of where my body is. Also, I don't focus on how scared I am or how uncomfortable I am. Even though I am those things, the point of this whole thing is for my mind to be reprogrammed into every day when I do these things, not to measure them by how well I did while I was doing those things, if that makes sense. Because if you label your exposure, your experiences as good or bad during this time, for me anyway, this is all for me, it basically reaffirms, like if it was scary, then we're reaffirmed that it was scary. Most likely it's going to be scary every single time, or most of the time, and that's basically when you need to surrender. So I hope all this makes sense. But I wanted to encourage you guys to get a calendar if you need to, and while you work on this exposure every single day, make yourself a check mark or something that you can see that you did, or do it on your phone, or write it down on a piece of paper so you see it, how many times you did this. So in a month, you can say, wow, I did my exposure day every single day. You know, that's a win in itself. Just keep on going. Don't stop. Keep going. I need that pep talk myself. Side note, I missed last 2 days of exposure. I was not feeling well, and I know I should have done it even though I wasn't feeling well. I just emotionally couldn't handle it. It's the first week of school of distance learning for my kids. I have 3 little ones, and it was just super overwhelming. So for 2 days, I just hit a pause on it, and I got back to it today. And my plan is to go forth, and there's going to be days where you're just going to maybe miss it. but I honestly want more check marks than like X's. If I don't do it, it's an X. And I would like to be very consistent in the fact that no more than 2 X's in like a month. And I know that's maybe a harsh goal, like for me, but only you know how much is too much. But I also believe that we're way stronger than we give our credit to ourselves. So I think that's important. So this morning I got up. I know that I'm most productive in the morning. So I got up, got my kids all set up. I took a shower and then got in a car. And then I decided to do a second exposure day, which was going to pick up coffee and lunch and with my son. But like I said, I don't label it as successful or not successful, just like a check mark. Because once you attach feelings to it, like I said, then your memory kind of reaffirms it like, oh, that was good. Oh, you had so many good days or so many bad days. When in fact, it's just about doing it every single day, no matter how miserable we are. And I get it. I miss 2 days. So we're not perfect. This is not about perfection. This is about being persistent, being as consistent as you can. And I believe for me, doing it on a calendar makes me see things, what's in front of me, and kind of being honest and truthful with myself. So keeps me in check. So I hope this helps. If you can go to theanxioustruth.com/downloads, then you will get the Fear Ladder and Exposure Planner, and then start just writing down your steps, baby steps and goals that you can take. Prioritize them. Which ones do you want to start working on immediate? And then have goals like a daily goal, a monthly goal, long-term goal. To me, every day is to just drive around the block at least. Then once a week to get on the freeway. And once a month is to go down this mountain while I'm driving. So having those goals and working towards them and then getting those check marks, that is important. If you guys have any questions, please leave them below. I will get back to you. And if you want to ask me anything, go for it. I hope this makes sense. Again, get the planner, do the breath work, to practice the relaxation of your body. I don't want to call it a scan maybe necessarily, but just relaxing the body. And the more you practice those things, the easier it will be able to accomplish those things when you're in a state of panic. Because if you don't practice them very often and panic comes over you, that's not the first thing you will think about doing. You will want to grab for your water bottle or your safe person or whatever it is. It's again, practicing these things every single day. So when the time comes, you have the skills, you have the tools in your toolbox. And then if you want to, get a calendar. You can go to Moments with Dominica on Instagram and Facebook, and you can even leave a comment me there. Again, it's just a check mark. You don't have to attach feelings to it. If it was a good exposure or a bad exposure, it was an exposure. You did it. Leave it at that. So I'm here if you need anything. I hope all this made sense, and I will be back with another video soon.